Arsenal are back amongst the Europeans' elites, but are struggling to get trophies over the line. And that's something that today I want to change. In this FM24 rebuild, we are undertaking one simple mission. Break 8 historic records and cement a legacy that even the Invincibles would be proud of. Whether it's record-breaking goals, points tallies, unbeaten runs, or turning the Emirates into a defensive masterclass, today we are doing all of that in just one save. And here we are on FM in updated database. We have finished the 24-25 season and Arsenal have finished in second place. Well, they are potentially going to finish in real life, but very much the reason we're doing this rebuild is the partly fact that Arsenal keep on bossing things, and we need to change that today, winning lots and lots of trophies, which based on this simulation, FM thinks is very possible, as Arsenal win the Champions League, FA Cup and Carabao Cup, so I don't expect the trophy aspect of this rebuild to be difficult, but as mentioned, we're making a massive twist. We are going to be breaking 8 groundbreaking records, and it is not going to be an easy task. The first record we are going for is the most points in a single season for Arsenal, and the record for that is actually only 90, which is certainly something that is doable. The second record is their most wins in a single season. In a 38-game campaign, their record is 29. That seems easy, but trust me, that is very difficult. If we just look at this season, that just happened by Liverpool. In FM here, 30 wins, 96 points, and their Liverpool team is an absolute joke. Arsenal's team, very, very good, but maybe not at that record-breaking level just yet, so it's going to take some time to get there. The third is the fewest defeats in a single season, and of course we all know back in 2004, Arsenal went invincible, so we need to have an invincible season here, which is coupled up with the longest unbeaten run, which is actually quite surprising because this takes into account unbeaten across all competitions, in which Arsenal's record is actually just 29. So despite a 38-game campaign, in that 2004 season, they must have lost a cup game or a Champions League game somewhere, and we're going to have to do that across 29 games here on FM, going completely unbeaten. We then move on to their most goals in a single campaign, and it is a stupid 127. That is 3.5 goals a game on average. In the Premier League era we are currently in, that is going to be very, very difficult. We then have the least goals conceded in a season, which is 17, which is also very, very tough. So look at it conceding about 0.45 goals on average per game. The biggest win in history is record number 7, and that is a 12-0 in a competitive fixture. So somehow we're going to have to do that. And finally is the player league goals in a single season, which I believe was Thierry Henry at 30, and that is the 8th and final record. And a reminder, this rebuild does not end until we have completed all 8 records. And we're to start off this rebuild, we have created an Arteta style 4-3-3 tactic that is looking like so. Now I'm making transfers straight away in this rebuild as we are going in to the effective summer in real life, and I believe there is a few positions in this Arsenal team that need changing and will update the formation as we get there as well. The current team, we're looking at Raya, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel and Zinchenko. I believe the fullbacks are quite weak in this team. Now obviously in real life they do play with the likes of Julian Timber and Yaka Kivior's playing, Caliafouri without his injury as well, but I do think there's room for improvement there. The midfield 3 is Partey, Rice and Odegaard. I think we're going to go for a brand new DM. 2 wingers wise, we've got Saka and Martinelli, who on FM are fantastic. Saka for me, one of the best players in real life football. Martinelli I'm not so sure of, but on FM is absolutely fantastic, so probably going to be staying around. And up top we've got Gabriel Jesus, or you know, the likes of Mikel Merino. I mean, that's ridiculous. Kai Havertz could also play in this role as well, but I think we're going to go for a more traditional role up front. This is the tactic if you guys do want to copy it. It's very heavily based off Josh Daly's tactic on Arteta. As I said though, that is just the base, and I've tried to put an Arteta style in. I'm going to change it straight away to play more of a 4-3-3 that I want to play, while still trying to keep that Arsenal tiki-taka style as well. So let's get straight into our transfers, because we are going to go hell for leather. If you guys haven't seen the Rangers version of this rebuild, what are you doing? Go and watch it. It's absolutely fantastic. That video took me 9 seasons to do, and we eventually broke the same 8 records of Rangers. Get in the comments down below. Number 1, your guess for how many seasons this is going to take to break them 8 records. And number 2, if you are an Arsenal fan, I want to see a red and a white circle in the comments. Leeds fans, you smashed it on the last video. Can Arsenal fans outdo them in this one? Now, before we get into the transfers, there is 2 youngsters that I want to touch on in particular. Number 1, Ethan Nwaneri. He is a fantastic wonder kid on this year's FM. 5-star potential and is going to get used heavily in this rebuild. Very different to Miles Lewis-Skelly. Purely on Football Manager, Miles Lewis-Skelly is rubbish. He cannot play left back, he cannot play as an inverted wing back, and is basically going to be impossible for us to break these kinds of records while using a wonder kid that is not a wonder kid whatsoever, is in fact a League 1 level player according to FM. I believe this guy is fantastic in real life. Obviously, he's playing for England. He is fantastic, but sadly, Football Manager just does not rate him at all, and they've got it completely wrong. But in this rebuild, we are not going to see a lot of Miles Lewis-Skelly. We're probably going to see a lot of Ethan Nwaneri, as I really do want to try and build him into a top-tier player. Now, we are going to start off with the striker position. It's a very obvious one. Victor Gyökeres, I think, is the striker that potentially goes to Arsenal this summer if they don't get Alexander Isak. I think the Isak deal is a very, very difficult one to get over the line, and if they can't do that, I think they're the team that get Victor Gyökeres. Obviously, I support Manchester United. You can see that from behind me. But I think if I was Victor Gyökeres, I had the choice of going to a ridiculously turbulent Manchester United side or an Arsenal side that potentially just needs an absolute bagsman to go and become one of the best teams in the Premier League. Well, the best team in the Premier League, because they already are one of the best. I would certainly be choosing Arsenal, so he's my striker up top to start this rebuild. Next up is a very strong left inverted fullback in David Hanko, signed from Feyenoord. He is 6'2". He has the ability to play centre back and left fullback. Great decision making, decent speed, great defensively, and it's cost us £40 million. And finally, I brought in one of the best wonder kids on this year's Football Manager, Desire Doué, simply because he is smashing it in real life at PSG. I'm recording this as Arsenal PSG's second leg is about to kick off in 25 minutes. Arsenal fans, I'm very sorry if this guy has just tormented your team and you've been knocked out of the Champions League because of this. Also, there could be a university watching this and you're still battered from the night that you got through to the final of the Champions League. Either way, make sure you're dropping a like on the video because Desire Doué is now in red. And this is the team that we have created with them signings. You can see it is a little bit different. Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel and Caliafori comes in as my strongest defensive team. I do think, though, the backups are also very strong. Timber, Tomiyasu, Kivior and David Hanko is a great rotational 4. Declan Rice, I have moved down into deep lying playmaker role while we have Mikel Merino as his rotation. Then I have Odegaard in central midfielder, rotating in with Zinchenko as a centre mid on automatic. And I'm going to be locking in Ethan Nwaneri into Metsala attack role straight away. Because if we are going to get this guy to be a superstar talent in this rebuild, we need to develop him right now, because I don't think we're going to break any records for a couple of seasons. We might as well make Ethan Nwaneri a superstar so that when we can start to break records, he is also in the team. On the left-hand side, we have got Martinelli. On the right-hand side, we have got Saka. And up top, as an advanced forward now, Victor Gyökeres. Now, this team is very, very strong, but I do think we can't look to go and break records straight away. We have to become the best team in the Premier League on merit and then go out there and look for the records. It's exactly what we've done with Rangers, and I think it will take some time. I do think it will take a season, 2 seasons, to make this team the dominating team in England so we can go and try and score 127 goals, so we can try and go invincible. And I'll be keeping you guys up to date on the records we are trying to break when we are going for them. But for now, it's just a simple season of making Arsenal Premier League champions. But there is a trophy to be instantly ticked off in this rebuild, because we are also looking to just get Arsenal back in the silverware, and it is the FA Cup, the most historic trophy in history, and one that Arsenal have lifted many times in their history. This was a game against Aston Villa, who were a real force this season. They actually done very, very well in the Premier League, and we'll get there in just a second. They even went 2-1 up in this game, but thanks to a defensive error, Martinelli pounces on Matty Cash's mistake to make it 2-2. and we win the game late on in the 85th minute. Starting out from the back, Gabriel finds Kai Havertz, spins his man, finds Trossard, a great ball into the back post, and star boy Bukayo Saka puts it into the back of the net, and Arsenal win the FA Cup in season number 1. But winning the Premier League was not so easy. Aston Villa had surprised the world and got 94 points with 29 wins, matching the record in wins we need to achieve and dominating the points we need to achieve. What on earth? Matching Liverpool with 94 points is crazy, and Aston Villa have just done that under the supreme Unai Emery leadership. He is unbelievable as a manager on FM, and this season they did spend a fair bit of money, bringing in Marmoush from City, Kovacic, Godfrey, Morita, Dominic Solanke, and somehow have just won the Premier League. Leon Bailey grabbed 17 goals, 16 assists, Ollie Watkins doing bits as well. But overall, just an unbelievable season. And I can't believe it, but Villa are the champions. Now, Bukayo Saka was outrageous this year, matching up Erling Haaland in terms of goals. Martinelli on the left-hand side matching up in terms of assists. But the one person that did disappoint me was Victor Gyökeres. 23 goals in 48 games is decent, but it isn't world-breaking numbers, and that's what we need from our striker to become the best team in the world. Bukayo Saka, 33 goals, 16 assists. That's more like it. That's world-breaking Ballon d'Or winning numbers, and we'll be keeping an eye on the Ballon d'Or as well. As throughout this rebuild, I would love to see who is going to win the Ballon d'Or from Arsenal. Ethan Ranieri, a full season locked into that midfield role, 11 goals and 6 assists, and certainly progressing nicely. As mentioned, it's going to take a year or two to get to that stage where we need to be trying to break them records, so developing Ranieri is one of my main goals so far. Martinelli, 22 assists and 10 goals. Odegaard, 12 assists and 9 goals. Ben White even grabbing 10 assists as well. But overall, a pretty lackluster season. I expected better. I actually expected to potentially win the Premier League and Champions League this season, and that's not happened. We've got quarterfinal in the Carabao Cup by Brentford, round of 16 the Champions League by Chelsea, and only won the FA Cup this season. And I think part of it is, of course, the system we are using to kick off this rebuild. A 4-3-3 with inverted wingbacks is certainly not the meta in this game, especially with inverted wingers as well. And even a 4-3-3 in general was something that I very rarely use now, as the 4-2-3-1 is just so overpowered. But given this is Arsenal's system in real life, I at least want to try and achieve some records using this style of play. We are using the underlapping runs from the midfield, the tiki-taka, short, high-tempo football that Arsenal do use in real life. And I want to try and do it this way. And eventually, if we get to a point where nothing is being done, we will move on. But I think it's only right we attempt this using the Arsenal way. The best thing here, though, is financially, Arsenal are stupidly rich. We have £300 million in the bank, £100 million in transfer budget, lots of wage budget to spend, and very minimal debt when it comes to being a big side. So rebuilding this team into one of the world's best, we're going to have to use that budget, and we're going to bring in some superstars along the way. But only one superstar is coming in this summer, and that's Ecuadorian left wing back Piero Hincapié, because I think he is a much better option for this left-sided role. Now, David Hanko is the player we signed last summer and didn't play too many games. It was a signing which I thought would bring some more experience and strength, but in fact what I'm looking for, bit more youth, bit more pace, and ability to also get down the wing and whip the ball in. He has decent enough crossing, dribbling and speed, great mental stats, and he's just a much better player than Hanko, but wasn't available last summer. So I brought him in this year and actually already adapted the tactic ever so slightly to have wingbacks rather than inverted wingbacks. I was just looking into it, and it's just way too difficult to play with inverted wingbacks and go as dominant as we want to go. The rest of the system is the exact same. Even the sort of underlapping nature of the system is staying the same. We're having a bit more of a traditional back four, still keeping Ben White as a wingback, also Timber getting in there as well. Of course, the likes of Calafiori and Hanko are still going to be about and playing in these roles, but they're going to be rotation options, and I think our defence is very strong. I want to see more out of Gyökeres this summer, and I want to see a bit more out of Odegaard as well, because if I'm honest, Ranieri was better last year, and we need a bit more improvement from that midfield trio to really become a dominating side. Now, one of the main ways that Arsenal have shown their dominance in real life is set pieces, and you'll never guess what we're quite good at: set pieces. Gabriel scoring the first, Saliba scoring the second, back post and near post. This was a game against Manchester United. The third was also a set piece, a free kick from Odegaard, You never guess what? The fourth, a set piece whipped in and a Declan Rice finish in a completely demoralising victory against Manchester United. And that was one of the 27 victories we got this season, becoming champions of England for the first time for Arsenal since 2004. It has taken a long time for Arsenal to get back in the trophies. I do think it's coming in real life, Arsenal fans. If my opinion has anything to do with it, I do think Arteta is a top tier manager. I just don't. I think it's the striker that's missing. And I know Arsenal fans like Havertz, like the link-up play, the build-up. But a deadly striker like Isak or Gyökeres and that Arsenal team is winning titles. I don't care what anyone says. So what we've done here is exactly that, and we are now winning titles. Bukayo Saka, 21 goals, one less than last season. One behind Joel Pirro at Leeds United, who've just finished 5th and are in Champions League football, by the way. Another rebuild I done just last week. If you haven't seen that, after this video, make sure you go and watch it. Bukayo Saka, top of the average ratings list. And Odegaard, we called him out in the summer. Well, he's just gone and had a great season. 10 goals, 21 assists. That is more like it, Martin. I wanted to see more ball playing ability. I think it's something that people are crying out for in real life as well. Odegaard having that killer instinct and a 31 goal contribution season is exactly what we needed. Saka and Odegaard were the top 2 performing players in the team this season, with Martinelli in 3rd place with 30 goal contributions as well. Saliba grabbed 10 with his head and Gyökeres grabbed 24 in 52, which again is decent, but it's not amazing. And I'm really surprised that Gyökeres is not getting 35, 40 goals. And I genuinely thought it'd be the striker to break that 30 goal in one season mark. In fact, over the 2 seasons so far, he's only got 27, which probably shows how difficult grabbing 30 goals in a single campaign is going to be. Now, of course, we've got to break every single record, not just match them. So it is not going to be easy to break any of these records. Ethan Nwaneri is progressing at a simply stupid rate and has comfortably become a mainstay in this Arsenal midfield. With 8 goals and 9 assists this season, backing up last season's very good year, he is now listed as a fairly ambitious wonder kid and waiting to make his England debut, which is very, very exciting. Overall, I am very happy with the team we have created. I do think there is some room for improvement, but it's very difficult to improve this team. And I think we are ready to start going for some records. I think the real sign of being able to go after the biggest records is going to be beating our 90 points tally. We sit on 85 this season and we need 6 points more to get that record, and I think that's something we can go for in season number 3. Now, if you're wondering where I've got all these records from, I have headed to the Arsenal team page and gone down 2 records and scoured through this. So you can see the most league goals by a player in Arsenal is Henry. You can match up a save very similar to this for yourselves for a nice fun challenge with the rest of FM24 as well. Most wins, 90. We obviously have got that. Most wins this season, 29. We need to grab 30. You can see the goals, matches without losing, the 28 here in 2007, actually, the biggest win, the goals scored. The fewest conceded had to get off of the internet, so if you want to do that, go and find that one. But you could go absolutely mental and try and do every single record in this screen. I do think that is kind of impossible sometimes with like attendance and bits like that. But you can have a great time with this and have really fun rebuild or just save in general doing things like this, and adds a nice different spin to FM24. So I do hope that you appreciate that throughout this summer we are trying things on the channel to add a bit more interest. If you can help me by subscribing to the channel, that would help massively. We're aiming to hit 20k with a drop of FM26 and over 800 subscribers in the last month. You can join them legends in getting us to that journey, so make sure you hit that subscribe button because over 70% of you are not currently subscribed. So to go for that record, we are moving into a 4-2-3-1 system, the most overpowered system on the game. And the way we are doing that is by going very attacking down the wing back roles. Now, the signings we have made so far, like David Hanko and Pierre Hincapié, are more inverted fullbacks and not the best going forward wing backs. So that's something we are changing in this summer. The first signing is attacking Brazilian right wing back Vanderson that we have brought in from PSG. Rather than the 10 crossing of Hincapié, we have 16. We have outrageous pace and brilliant attacking ability. And on the left hand side is German fullback Nathaniel Brown, signed from Eintracht Frankfurt. 15 crossing and great speed. We are going ultra meta. This rebuild is not about realism as you will see very, very soon from one of the signings we go and make, it's going to be a bit stupid, to be honest. We are going full meta, full broken. We are looking to break records and build a legacy. Now, this save file is going to be available on Patreon as well. The link to that is down in the description, so make sure you're heading over there and checking that out. For £5 a month, you can help support me as a creator massively. But let's get into Season 3. We're looking to try and break that 90-point record. Or simply have our worst Premier League campaign yet, finishing down in 5th place on 73 points. I really do not get the Premier League on this game. This was much easier in Scotland with Rangers. This might take me quite a while to break any of these records, as we are 3 seasons in and not broken a single one. And I think the main tell here is that we need to move on from Victor Gyökeres. He has got 25 goals in 31 games, but only 13 in the Premier League once again, and it's just not being good enough up top. Now, that doesn't mean it was a trophyless season, as in the Champions League final we saw PSG, and once again, Arsenal fans, for your sake, I hope this is foreshadowing, because we have beat PSG 2-0 in the final of the Champions League. A penalty from Bukayo Saka and a goal from Victor Gyökeres. I can just see right now that this video is going to come out in a couple of days' time, and it's gone all horribly wrong, and Arsenal fans are hating the fact that... Actually, no, Arsenal fans are loving the fact that we are battering PSG in this rebuild for redemption. If it has gone horribly wrong, Arsenal fans, I am very, very sorry if I'm just rubbing it in your face that Arsenal did not win the Champions League, or not in the final of the Champions League. I actually kind of hope you are, because a lot of people don't like Arsenal fans, because Arsenal Twitter, I actually don't know many Arsenal fans, and for me as a Manchester United fan, it is much worse to watch Liverpool or Manchester City win the Premier League and Champions League and bits like that. So Arsenal, I'm kind of with you there, to be honest. You're a little bit hated for not a lot of reason. Now, that wasn't the only trophy we won this summer. We also beat Fulham in the final of the FA Cup, once again starting with a Bukayo Saka penalty. We scored early on, and then Tyler Dibbling moved to Fulham and decided he was another world-class player, so put it in the back of the net for 1-1. But in the 86th minute, Zinchenko and Rice linked up nicely before Deki Rice did a Deki Rice wonderclass and put it into the back of the net for a 2-1 victory. So despite not winning the Premier League and having our worst campaign we could ever have imagined, we have come away with 2 trophies, and one of them is the Champions League. But as mentioned a second ago, the big issue here is goals. Saka and Martinelli from wing positions, buzzing. Gabriel Jesus as a backup striker, buzzing. Nwaneri from the cam role, 27 goal contributions, buzzing. Odegaard and Rice are now playing in defensive midfielder roles, and Odegaard has just had a ridiculous season as a roaming playmaker, grabbing 19 assists, buzzing. But striker, it's a big issue, and one we're here to fix. Kylian Mbappe is a gunner. I know this is stupid, and probably the most ridiculous thing I've ever done in a Football Manager video. After 18 months of creating content on FM24, I am completely aware how ridiculous this is. £300 million. I wouldn't be surprised if I see the retention graph in this video drop right now. But I have just signed Mbappe for Arsenal. No, there is no editor being used. I don't know how I can show this other than going to the... I mean, you can see there's no pen at the top at all. There is a game status, what I was looking for. In-game editor, no. Mbappe was interested in coming to Arsenal because we had just won the Champions League. He was doing well at Real Madrid. 23 goals last season. £300 million. He's on 500k a week. Mbappe is Arsenal. Arsenal is Mbappe, and we have now got our striker. If we don't go and break records now, with Nwaneri, Saka, Martinelli and Mbappe as our front four, I'm not sure we ever will. This Arsenal team might be the best team I've ever built on any FM ever. I actually think in a rebuild battle I did versus Josh Daly about a year ago now, in an Arsenal versus Spurs rebuild, I was Arsenal. I think I signed Mbappe and Osimhen in that rebuild. Arsenal seem to have some mental pull on FM, and Mbappe is just willing to come here. So welcome to Arsenal, Mbappe, and let's go and break some records. Like Thierry Henry grabbed 30 goals in one season, I think Mbappe would do very, very similar. If not, possibly 40, because he's an absolute joke. Now, don't get me wrong, the signing of Mbappe is completely and utterly ridiculous, but his first season in England wasn't what I expected. He grabbed 22 goals and got 16 assists in 48 games. I'm starting to think this Arsenal striking position is actually cursed. We are going to see Arsenal win another trophy here on FM in the FA Cup against Aston Villa. You may have seen at the very start there, Lewis Skelly's in the team. He got some minutes this season at the left back role, which is very exciting. Again, I hope you watched the start of this video where I apologise for the fact he's not very good on FM, sadly. But another FA Cup for Arsenal. And again, no goals scored there by Mbappe, which is very weird because yes, he started, but the winger positions just seem to be so much better. But finally, we have ticked off our first record in this rebuild. It is a 91-point season, beating Spurs to the title by a singular point, which is absolutely fantastic. And we nearly bottled it in classic Arsenal fashion. It took a 77th minute goal from Martin Odegaard to beat Southampton on the final day of the season. But we have done it. Arsenal are champions of the Premier League. And that is absolutely massive. It's the first record of the 8 ticked off. And the one that I thought we'd tick off first. And the next one I'm going to go for is the goals record and the goals by a single player record. Now, to give you some perspective, this season we just scored 113 goals and got 91 points. We need to score 14 more goals than that, which is ridiculous. Now, I'm aware, of course, we have got Kylian Mbappe, but he was our second top goal scorer behind Martinelli. Gabby Jesus grabbed 21, Saka grabbed 42 goal contributions, and Gyökeres, as the rotation, grabbed 14. And I'm just going to keep Gyökeres as our rotational striker, because that's what I think he's going to be good at. Kai Havertz with 14 and 10, and Odegaard with 29 goal contributions as well. Nwaneri fell off a little bit this season, 11 goal contributions and hardly as many games, which is a bit of a shame. And Lewis Skelly played 11 for us in that left-back role, but just sort of showing this season that sadly he just isn't very good on FM, which is a real shame, and I'm sure on FM 26 he's going to get a massive boost. Now for this season, I think the goal is clear: to really get the striker to score a bunch of goals, but to do that we have to be able to defend as well. So our new goalkeeper is Gregor Kobel, coming in to replace David Raya. Kobel was one of my favourite goalkeepers on FM and is just simply fantastic. I found a young Greek wonderkid called Kilimis Papadimos. We signed him last season actually from Atromius for £4.3 million using my hidden regen scouting method. If you've not seen that video yet, it is fantastic. He cost us £4.3 million and looks outrageous. I also found Filippo Vergara using the exact same method, a signing for just £500,000. I also signed a young backup goalkeeper for £36 million. Money really is not an issue here at Arsenal, hence the £300 million signing of Mbappe. So Martin Kuipers comes in from Groningen, who looks just absolutely brilliant. And at 19 years of age, while Kobe was 30, I think he'll eventually become our starting keeper. And finally, and a creative midfielder in Gil Fernandez signed from Barcelona. Now, as mentioned, this season we are going for the Mbappe goals record. We need 31 goals in a singular Premier League campaign to break the record of the legend that is Thierry Henry. And I think we have made a system which gets the ball to Mbappe enough to the point where he can go and score all the goals. So for this season, he'll be getting locked into that striker role and seeing what he can do. Now, I did just want to touch on the fact as well that Bukayo Saka won the Ballon d'Or back in 2025. I said I would keep up on this as much as possible. Mbappe's also won 2, but not with us. So let's hope over the next few years we can win more Ballon d'Ors with Saka and Mbappe. And a good way to win more Ballon d'Ors is to score a boatload of goals. And that's what a striker version of Kylian Mbappe does. And just destroying Spurs' hopes and dreams is also part of his goals. Mbappe grabbed 43 goals and got 11 assists this season, and 31 of them were in the Premier League. Still not getting the golden boot as Robot Man Erling Haaland reigns supreme, but it does break our second record of this rebuild, grabbing over 30 goals in a single campaign. So that is 2 out of 8 done, 25% done, and a big one ticked off as well. Now again, for context, this season we have just scored 95 goals. We need to try and score 127 in one season to break that ridiculous record that Arsenal done. I've got no idea when they did that, but how on earth did Arsenal score 3.6 goals on average per game? That is genuinely stupid. Just looking through this schedule, you can just sort of see some of the games. 4-0 win, 4-0 loss, 4-0, 4-4, 7-1, 3-1, 4-0, 4-0, 2-0, 3-0, 3-1 loss, 3-1, 4-2, 2-0, 1-0. There is a lot of goals scored here. We're nowhere near scoring as many as we need to. Our biggest result so far, we had a 7-1 this season. Last year, we had a 8-0 in the Premier League against Fulham. We've had a 7-1 in the Premier League against Forest. We've had a 4-2 there, and we've had a 5-2 there. So we are still quite some way of getting that 12-0 as well. So that's going to be very, very difficult to achieve, but something we'll eventually do. And I'm very, very sure a lot of these players are going to be in that team as well. Our front four overall was fantastic. Wanyeri grabbed 26 goals and 17 assists. Saka, 22 and 19, and Martinelli, 22 and 21. Now, Martinelli is someone I have said that I am not a massive fan of in real life. I don't think he is actually that good. Arsenal fans, let me know your opinions on that down in the comments. But here on FM, he's absolutely fantastic. That good, in fact, that he became the second best player in the world, losing out on the golden ball to only Erling Haaland. And in third place, Marcus Rashford. Yeah, probably showing FM probably isn't the most realistic thing in the world. But once again, showing that we are building a system which is scoring lots of goals and getting players to play fantastic football. So now we need to move on, really, to winning more than 29 games in a single season, which again is not going to be easy. So more transfers are certainly needed. I've actually not made any transfers. I've lied to you, but I have changed formation to what I believe is one of the most overpowered formations on the game. Especially now we are looking for goals and wins. 4-2-2, Saka, Martinelli on the wings, Gyökeres and Mbappe up front. Hate me if you want to. This team is the best team I've ever seen on FM. Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Brown, Kobel, Rice, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, Mbappe, Gyökeres. We should dominate the Premier League now. This team is a joke. We are in every single competition possible. Now remember, to break records, we need to win over 29 games and score more than 127 goals in a single campaign. We also at some point need to win a game by more than 12-0. I've got no idea how we're going to make that happen, but building a team like this, well, that's certainly a good start. Well, building a team like we have done has given us a great chance of doing that. We were simply fantastic this season, and we won a stupid amount of games to kick things off. Every game in August, every game in September, October, November, until we got to December. We lost 2, but won the rest, including a 7-1 against Norwich. Sadly, a loss to Spurs does not help the case of becoming an Arsenal legend, that's for sure. January was a little bit ropey, but our first half form of the season was absolutely fantastic, and I think we got a good chance of breaking the winning record. And when we look at this second half form as well, as we get to April and May in particular, winning every single game and scoring a stupid amount of goals with 5-2, 6-4, 3-0, 4-1, 2-1, 5-3, 5-2 and 4-0. It might not be just the one record this year. We have won the Premier League on 30 wins, 3 draws and 5 losses, and also got 30 goals from Mbappe once again in a season, which is fantastic. You can also see 20 for Bukayo Saka. So that's 50 goals guaranteed. But did we get 127 while winning 30 games? No, we didn't. 116. 11 goals short. And I've just showed you this schedule with a bunch of 5s, a bunch of 6s, some 7s in there. This is just the Premier League, and there is about 12 games there with 15 games there with more than 4 goals in a game. But the games where we lose and don't score or win 1-0 make this really, really difficult. So yes, it's a record ticked off, and I believe it's our 3rd, maybe our 4th record ticked off. But it's one that I thought we would tick off at some point. The wins record was an achievable record and one we have demolished. And it's good to see the amount of goals we are scoring. Saka 31, Gyökeres 32, Mbappe 48, Martinelli with 18 as well. And even Rice and Odegaard from the DM roles grabbing 12 and 7. This system certainly does not help the growth of Ethan Wanyeri, but he is also able to play up front, on the left or on the right. So eventually he will play games there. but we've got Saka, Martinelli, and the two strikers we've got. It's going to be difficult for him to break into that position. I think the logical step now is to send the goals front. We need 11 more than this, and the only way we know how to do that is to build a just stupidly unrealistic broken formation. So welcome to the madhouse. Kempi's utterly ridiculous, stupidly aggressive attacking 3 striker, basically 5 striker, 5 defenders, 3-2-5. I mean, I'm going for goals. We need to not get sacked and score more than 127 goals. So 3 advanced forwards, 2 inside forwards, and a defensive trio with a volante and a deep-lying playmaker. What can possibly go wrong? Oh, and how about also spending £68 million and robbing Real Madrid's other fantastic wonderkid striker, Endrick, coming in from them. He is going to complete an attacking trio of Mbappe, Nwaneri, and Endrick. I mean, what a ridiculous front three we have got here. We've also got, of course, Victor Gyökeres. Sean Brown is someone that's come through the academy, and he looks quite good as well. And Papadimos, the Greek player we signed a few seasons ago, also has the ability to up front, as does Martinelli. And overall, just we can play whatever we want to play. This system is stupid. I don't feel good about it. I don't know what I've built. This could go horribly wrong. We are also playing on attacking. In possession, we are aggressive. In transition, we are aggressive. And out of possession, well, we're stupidly aggressive. This can only go wrong, can't it? Well, that's what I thought. And yes, while the system was completely and utterly stupid and completely and utterly broken and definitely not meta, it worked in some ways. We have got here a game against Nottingham Forest. And there was a record we needed to complete of scoring winning more than 12-0. And we are 3-0 up in 10 minutes in this game. Nathaniel Brown whips it in for Gyökeres to make it 4-0 in 18 minutes. And you can see, if I just pause it right here, that's our left wing back playing in centre mid for some reason, how many players we have up front. We've also, I believe this is Endrick, it is Endrick, dropping into a DM role to collect the ball. This is ridiculous. Martinelli puts it into Gyökeres for, I believe, 5-0 in 21 minutes. Nwaneri and Endrick link up to find Martinelli, who's get down the left-hand side, beats his man, and hits the post for Endrick to poke home for 6-0 in 33 minutes. Forest around the back. I mean, we've got so many strikers. What are you doing? It is 7-0 in 33 minutes, pretty much straight from kickoff. 39 minutes. How about an 8th? Gyökeres on the ball, whips in. It falls to Sean Brown. Our wonder kid from the academy, 8-0. Second half, nearly the second half, not quite yet. Nwaneri down the right-hand side. Gyökeres, I believe that's 8 or 9. I have completely and utterly lost count. We are finally into the second half. Mbappe finds Endrick. Endrick whips it in. Sean Brown, another striker in the box, unmarked because there's simply too many of them. But don't worry, the comeback is on, Forest fans. A header from the front post. I believe it's now 10-1. They're back in the game. Or not. Ethan Nwaneri, back post, Endrick, 11-1, we're going to guess at this point. 68th minute, Mbappe on the ball. We need 2 more goals to break the record. Vanderson, Gyökeres, there's 12-1, effectively drawing the record as on the 83rd minute, Sean Brown on the ball, Mbappe on the ball, 13-1. In the Premier League, we have broken probably the most difficult record to break. And it was in the Premier League against Nottingham Forest, who have just finished in 18th place, while we finished in 2nd place. I knew that tactic wasn't going to win us the league, but my God, did it serve a purpose. 13-1 is simply and utterly ridiculous. And it's certainly helped us on the way to scoring 133 goals this season. Now, if you just imagine that 13-1 game was just a 4-0, would have scored 124 goals and still not broken the record. So thank you for a 13-1 victory in the absolute joke that is Football Manager. It is an incredible achievement that we have done 2 of the hardest challenges in just 1 season. In terms of goals this season, we scored a stupid amount. Gyökeres 36 at 32 years of age, finally becomes the striker we wanted him to be. Endrick, 28. Mbappe, 24, but 29 assists. Saka, 40 goal contribution. Sean Brown, 20. Martinelli, 14 goals, 24 assists. Dwanieri, 13 and 12. Declan Rice, 13 and 11. And we have also not checked out the golden ball in a little while. We're starting to do well in this as well. Mbappe has won his first at Arsenal with 48 goals, 15 assists in 61 games. So if I am now correct, we have 3 records left to break. Going invincible, which is very, very difficult. 28 games of an unbeaten run. Very, very difficult, considering we are taking into account Champions League, etc. as well. And conceding the least goals in a single season. So it is now about defensive football. We're going to have to go from a 3-striker formation to a defensive team. These rebuilds are actually so fun. And this is the system we have built to make Arsenal a defensive masterclass. This tactic will also be available on the Patreon down below when we have got a fully Arsenal side that can defend and not concede more than 16 goals in a season, go invincible, and go 28 games unbeaten over all competitions. Now, you will notice, I believe, one main signing, and that is Tom Krause in the central defensive midfield position. A very good option, sitting behind Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard. We've also got young Spanish left wing back Leo coming in from Villarreal for a very cheap fee, just to back up Nathaniel Brown. And Rafa Marin, a Spanish centre-back signed from Napoli, also coming in. We have done the goal scoring part. It is now all about defense. This system is very, very defensive, but we do have very attacking wing backs. We just make a very strong midfield. We've got Krause, Rice and Odegaard sitting in front of Timber, Saliba and Kempi. And then we have our 2 strikers filled with pace, ready to take teams on the counter attack. Now, this system worked with Rangers, again, in Scotland. Will it work here in England with Arsenal? I'm not so sure. Throughout this rebuild so far, we have won 4 Premier League titles in 7 seasons. We have won the Champions League 3 times as well. The FA Cup, we have won 4 times. And the Carabao Cup, we have won just once. Now, actually, 1 FA Cup, 1 Carabao Cup, and 1 Champions League was not actually in my ownership, as that was the simulated season start off. But now we have gone into our defensive era. We are in our Italian 5-back era, and it's now time to see if Arsenal, well, we can go invincible. Well, on the first day of the season, we lost to West Ham. So we're not going invincible, are we? Which is a bit of a shame, but we are going to go on some pretty decent form. We beat Burnley, Liverpool and Palace in the month of August, then lost to Norwich and Southampton. But after that, we went on a very good run of form, beating Villa, Wolves, Brighton, Fulham, United, Brentford, drew to Leicester, beat Leeds, drew to Newcastle, Spurs, beat Chelsea, drew to City, drew to Ipswich, beat Burnley, West Ham, Palace and Norwich. Now that is a 3-7... 10, 13, that's a 17 game. Now that is a 17 game unbeaten streak in the Premier League, which is very impressive. We add in the FA Cup, the Champions League and the Carabao Cup, and that record gets even more impressive. We went all the way unbeaten from the middle of September all the way to the end of January. And we were looking to the history books, and down here at most matches without losing, that was a 30-game spell from the 16th of September to the 31st of January, and we have completed one of the hardest challenges in this rebuild. There is a lot of draws in there, but that does not matter. Going unbeaten more than 28 games, a big tick, and that is a very big one ticked off. The other one was to go invincible. We know we haven't done that. And based on the amount of goals we conceded, we know we have not conceded enough. Well, we've conceded too many goals. In fact, we conceded way too many goals. We conceded 43 in this system, showing we maybe need to tweak it a little bit more to get that ultra defensive record. We did score 94 goals, but overall came 3rd in the league this year on 81 points. The tactic has done decently well, but I do think there is a level of defensiveness we're not quite doing. Our possession, we've got quite a high line and a high press. I'm thinking we try a complete mid-block and maybe drop these to support and see if we can make the ultra defensive tactic for Season 9. Or if we concede less than 17 goals and go invincible, we complete the rebuild. So the perfect midfielder to run about the place and win challenges is Federico Valverde, and he has joined us on a free contract after joining Al Ittihad a few seasons ago. He's got on a stupid amount of money, and now he comes to Arsenal. Jurel Hato is my next signing, a fantastic 26-year-old Dutch centre-back. And staying Dutch, we signed Jan-Paul van Hecke, one of my favourite centre-backs on this year's FM, signed from Brighton at 32 years of age for 43 million, shoring up that defence, making it a little bit more solid and giving us a few more options in midfield as well. Somehow, we have no longer got Odegaard in the starting team. In fact, he's gone. He's gone to Barcelona on a free contract. What a snake. I didn't even realise that. Odegaard's gone to... Well, guess what, Odegaard? I didn't care anyway. I wanted to get rid of you because I wanted a running midfield. And you're a creative genius, but Valverde certainly beats him in terms of defensive work. Timber moves into the DM role, and Rice in midfield. Shows how much I pay attention to the bench sometimes. Saka at right wing back and Brown at left wing back is a brilliant combination. Saka so well rounded that he has gone from being like an unbelievable goal scorer and now a defensive genius, and having his second best season for us overall, which is outrageous. So a big fan of Saka's versatility into this right back role. But I think what we're going to do for this is we're going to drop the wing backs slightly deeper into support roles. And as mentioned, I'm going to drop the high press into a mid block and really make it a compact midfield while trapping the opposition inside and making it so they have to try and break down this defensive block. And hopefully from there, we can break the final 2 records. Now, if you have enjoyed this video, make sure you are smashing that like button. I've said it a few times in this video, but over 70% of you are not subscribed. And if you have got about an hour into this video, which I imagine we are so far, and you are not subscribed, what the hell are you doing? Smash that subscribe button and do yourself a favor so you do not miss any of the fantastic Kempi content that comes out on this channel. Now, the goal this season was simple: defensively sound and not conceding a lot of goals. So 3 goals conceded in August didn't make me feel great, especially considering 2 of them were against Ipswich. We then went in September, so did 2 more against Burnley. So 5 goals conceded straight away. But from there, we tightened things up. We were an unbelievably great defensive side and actually went nearly 10 games only conceding 2 goals from November all the way to January. You will also notice the ridiculous defensive display of also not losing games. There was 4 games this season we drew 0-0. We were simply just too good defensively, and when we didn't create many chances, we really did shut up shop. We won the last 7 games without conceding a single goal, and finished the season conceding just 15 goals, meaning that was another record ticked off. And you've just seen from the schedule, despite 10 draws, we've gone invincible with 28 wins, 10 draws and 0 losses. And Arsenal have won the Premier League once again. We have completed the Invincibles. We have scored the most goals possible. We have signed Mbappe to Arsenal, and we have broken 8 ridiculous records. If you have enjoyed the I Rebuilt Arsenal and broke every single record rebuild, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you next time.